Boy, if things weren't crazy enough already, this election is about to get wild.
So what if I told you Omaha, Nebraska could determine the future of the country? Would you respond back, that sounds crazy? It's not. We've brought up this topic of what they call Obamaha a lot on the show, but thankfully Charlie Kirk reminded me about this last night. Folks, there are only 2 states in the union that don't have winner-take-all presidential election electoral vote tallies. There are liberals watching, so I know conservatives, you know this. There are liberals watching who are quite slow, so I need to explain this, okay? 48 states use a very simple model. You vote in Florida, Donald Trump wins Florida because he gets more votes. Donald Trump gets Florida's electoral votes. It's very simple. It's a great system. It's the least worst system, I should say. No system is great, okay? Pretty good, effective system. For some reason, Maine and Nebraska have chosen to go another route where they break it up differently. Now, this is described beautifully in a piece Charlie sent me last night. Folks, pay really close attention because if this happens, you're going to be like, damn, I heard it there first. Because we've been talking about Obamaha for a long time. Look at this Newsweek article. Is this in a newsletter, fellas? Put Bongino.com/newsletter. You need to read the whole thing. It's by Natalie Venegas, okay? How a Republican state could cost Donald Trump the election. A Republican state? You mean a Democrat? No, a Republican state. Nebraska, a very, very Republican state. They don't know but 2 states, Maine and Nebraska. Electoral votes are winner take all. The candidate who wins a popular vote receives the state's votes. Pretty simple process. However, there are 2 states, Maine and Nebraska, that use the congressional district method, which allows them to allocate 2 electoral votes to the state popular vote winner and then 1 electoral vote to the popular vote winner in each congressional district. 1 electoral vote could be a big deal. Why? Because as they note in part 2 of this, while candidates need 270 electoral votes to win, under a scenario where Biden, which is a possible scenario, under a scenario where Biden only wins the 3 northern swing states and other uncontested blue states, a loss in Nebraska's 2nd district could result in a 269 to 269 tie. What have I been warning you about why they want RFK out of the race? Can you imagine if Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s entrance into the race causes a, say, Trump win in Nebraska's 2nd district that causes a 269 tie, that then causes the race to get kicked over to the House of Representatives, where because a bunch of swampy Republicans left, the House of Republicans would be, the House of Representatives would be run by Hakeem Jeffries, who would then decide, the state delegations would decide, to be clear, but the House would be run by Hakeem Jeffries if they win in the next Congress because of the power of incumbency. Can you imagine that? Now, ladies and gentlemen, before anybody tells me, oh, that's impossible, that's never going to happen. Folks, I was told a lot of things were going to happen. I was told in 2016, Donald Trump's chances of winning the presidential election are, quote, approaching 0 in a Washington Post article written by Aaron Blake and Chris Cillizza. You can still read it yourself. It's still there. Now, how worried are people about this scenario? Where does the Dan Bongino show go when we want to find out what the liberals are worried about? Anyone in the room know? Anyone? How do you guys know? The cheat sheet's right there. Playbook, Political Playbook, which is the left-wing Bible. I read it every morning because I love to see what they're worried about. Oh, and look, right at the top of the left-wing Bible this morning, on the email they all read, Political Playbook. It could shake up the presidential election. What? Obamaha. They call it Obamaha because Obama won Omaha, Nebraska, that congressional district. They note for President Joe Biden, it would take away what is currently his easiest path to 270. Win the blue wall states, Michigan. He could win that. We should not, I don't want to hear any talk of a red wave. You got to take that to a different show. We're not doing that here. It is very possible Biden could win Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. And then all he has to do is win that 1 electoral vote from Metro Omaha. which has been won by the Democrats quite often, hence the term Obamaha. Ladies and gentlemen, read this playbook thing, not because I want to give Politico any clicks, but you can tell what the left are going to do because they always announce it every morning on their emails and their email list there. Every single morning. It's the top story. If this was no big deal and they weren't freaking out about it, then why is it leading their stories? I got a video coming up in a second of another Democrat insider. You know Jim Messina? He was basically the architect of Obama's re-election effort. Jim Messina is a noted Democrats insider with a vast network of connections. I'm going to show you in a second how worried they are about this. But this is not a new problem. The fact that Nebraska, for some reason, has decided to break up its electoral votes this way instead of giving them all to Donald Trump, which they should do. 48 states do it that way. And to be fair there, the Republicans and Governor Jim Pillen are pushing for this now. But it's by no means close to done. And it may get squashed before the election. You heard it here first, man. This is how long this has been going on. Look at this ABC News article. It's by Jake Tapper. The most important part of this article is the date. February 28th, 2012. 2012. This is 12 years ago. Tapper notes, hey, scoff if you like, but the campaign did this in 2008 and won Nebraska's 2nd congressional district. The Obama campaign jokingly referred to the strategy in the city as Obamaha. No one outside the state really noticed that Nebraska split its electoral votes, given Obama's electoral landslide. But what started out as a just-in-case measure actually proved itself as achievable. How likely is a 269 electoral vote split? Not as unlikely as you might think. Look at these permutations, folks. There's like 5-6 different likely ways we could get to 269. But then if no one gets to 270, nobody wins. Exactly. It goes to the House. Now you see why these swampy Republicans are leaving early? Here, Tapper, he's not wrong here, by the way. He says, let's assume an election where the battleground states are from west to east. Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico, Iowa, Missouri, Wisconsin, Michigan, Florida, Ohio, North Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire. Let's give all of them the GOP except for Florida, Michigan, and North Carolina. There you go, 269. He says, how about Obama wins Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, New Mexico? 269. So Obamaha might come in handy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Democrats, as always, are way ahead of the Republicans on tactics. If it wasn't for Charlie and a couple other people bringing attention to this issue and the author of that Newsweek piece, I promise you a lot of Republicans wouldn't have done jack about this. Now, I want you to watch this clip because there's nothing worse than Democrat belly aching. Oh, look, poor me. The Republicans are going to destroy democracy again. You've earned the double barrel middle finger. What has two thumbs that they say get the 2-barrel middle finger? This one to you guys, because I don't care what you guys have to say. You guys, the Democrats out there, the party of Twinkies, Fannie Willis, Andy Weissman, Peter Strzok, Jim Comey, Joe Biden, Derek Farland, the Agino, the Attorney General in name only. I'm really not interested in your lectures on democracy, not even a little bit, like a big fat donut. Very sorry. Don't care. But watch when Republicans simply propose the idea of changing Nebraska to just get in line with the rest of the United States. This is not some radical far-right theory. Literally 48 states do it this way. You win the popular vote in the state, you get the electoral votes. It's not hard. There's nothing even remotely radical about this. Now, however, trying to remove a presidential candidate who's the presumptive nominee from the ballot and steal the election before it's even happened, that's radical. But notice, the shithead Democrats, the absolute garbage, full diaper Democrats, have no problem with that at all. But that Nebraska is looking to just get in line with the rest of the country and vote the way the citizens of the state, not a particular region of the state, but the state want, there's a meltdown. I usually don't use entire clips here, but this is about 1:10. It's worth your time. This has turned into such a big deal with RFK in the race because they're now afraid Trump could actually win that 2nd district due to RFK siphoning votes off. that they are freaking out about a 269 scenario that gets kicked to the House. They won't say that's the RFK thing. They'll hint at it, but that's why Messina in this clip is losing his marbles. Check this out.
Governor there has thrown his support behind an effort that would no longer allocate the electoral votes by congressional district. Because right now, it's 5 votes there. Typically, Republicans get 4, and President Biden, Democrats get the 1 from Omaha.
That's right.
If that changes, and we don't know that it will, the state legislature is going to look at it. But if that changes, that takes away Biden's best path to win. Because if he wins Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, but loses the other swing states and no longer picks up the 1 in Nebraska, 269. That leads playbook this morning, the alarm among Democrats that this is possible. What do you think?
I think this is what the modern Republican Party has become. They're now changing the rules in the middle, trying to benefit themselves. This is the hell that Donald Trump hath wrought. In the middle of this, changing the rules 200 days before the election is ridiculous. I think you're right. I think there are real simulation problems. When you look at the map, that one electoral vote really matters in the combination of other things. Then you need another state. Yeah. And so the easiest pathway to victory has always been the Midwestern 3 states combined with Nebraska. Something tells me they're not going to get away with it this easy, and there will be a national outcry if they're trying to change the rules here. But it looks like...
You know, folks, listen, the show's for you. It's always been for you. I hope you understand that. Everything I do because the show's for you. It'll make more sense in the long run. The language portion of the show, I do try to kind of get a lid on, but there are moments like this you just want to so badly dump an F-bomb on this guy. There's going to be a national outcry. Bro, are you for real? This is the same party that has pushed in multiple states to actually remove the presumptive GOP nominee from the ballot. And just to be clear, we're taking advice from this asshole. There's going to be a national... and here's the funny thing. Chatsters, you know this is true, too. There are some swampy Republicans. The biggest... I want to say the word so bad. Wuss bags in the world who will be like, hey, man, I don't know if we should do that in Nebraska. People get upset. People get upset. They're raiding people's houses. You got a bunch of people in a gulag in Washington, D.C. You got Navarro and Bannon doing potential jail. Navarro's in jail. You got Bannon being charged. You had the president being spied on. We're worried about a national outcry. Someone should play that clip over and over and go, yes, please, outcry nationally. How many do you think I give about your national outcry? Anybody have a guess? Anyone in the chat have a guess about how many we should all give here? The answer is 0. 0. All right. You know how I'm always talking about contrast, by the way? This election coming up, they're contrasts. This is it's not a complicated idea. And there's nothing particularly brilliant or ridiculously insightful about saying, hey, a campaign between 2 people is a contrast. You'd be stunned, though, how many political consultants and swampy Republicans don't get this. They constantly complain about what? Oh, Donald Trump, the rhetoric, the bloodbath stuff, all this other crap, and they fall right into lefty traps. What they don't understand is campaigns are about creating contrast. They're about stealing the language of the left and using it to your own benefit on the right. I talked at length yesterday about how Trump stole the term fake news to the point where everybody thinks to this day it was a reference to the media. It's not. He stole it. The left made that term up to talk about Trump, and he took it. He did the same thing with the bloodbath stuff yesterday. But I want to show you in this clip coming up. I'm going to just get to this quick. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come back to the contrast. But this clip is really important. The GOP put this out on their Twitter feed. The new GOP being run by Laura Trump and the crew over there, and they're doing a great job. Congratulations to them. This is what a contrast looks like. If you're running for office, please watch this. I'm begging you. Matter of fact, I take that back. If you're even thinking about running for office or supporting someone running for office, I want you to watch this. This is why Donald Trump is winning. He takes a moment where the left screws up, language-wise or something, and he runs with it by creating a big, bold contrast, not sitting there apologizing like a wuss bag. This is what a contrast looks like. If you're running for office, please watch this. I'm begging you. Matter of fact, I take that back. If you're even thinking about running for office or supporting someone running for office, I want you to watch this. This is why Donald Trump is winning. He takes a moment where the left screws up, language-wise or something, and he runs with it by creating a big, bold contrast, not sitting there apologizing like a wuss bag.
Use the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. I should have, it's undocumented.
I say he was an illegal alien. He was an illegal immigrant. He was an illegal migrant. And he shouldn't have been in our country, and he never would have been under the Trump policy.
That's what it looks like. Snapshots and sound bites. Snapshots and sound bites. He's got the verbiage on the front of the podium, Donald Trump. He hammers the illegal issue using a word the left won't use to describe the very action taking place. Immigration, that's illegal. That is what a contrast looks like. If you can't create deep, chasm-like contrast where you look different than your opponent and you don't know how to take and leverage these issues, you're in the wrong business. The Trump team has got this thing down to a science. Every single thing they do, Biden, he jumps on right away and creates a contrast. The Democrats are flooding the country for a reason. They've talked about it. They've talked about it thousands of times. Watch this.
On day one, I will seal the border and will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. And if other countries say they won't take them back, we're not going to take them back. I will say that, yeah, here they come. You're just going to hold on to your britches, because here they come. They're coming back.
Who calls them? Hold on to your britches. Got my britches on. Let me pull up my britches. Hold on to your britches. Folks, why is a deportation operation important? May seem like an obvious answer, but I assure you, there are some even centrist Republicans out there that don't understand or get it. Oh, no, they're already here and everything. You know, amnesty is inevitable. We should just do it, get it over with, and stop them. No, that's not how this works. It's important for a couple of reasons. The first is, if people don't understand and keep getting amnesty every time a flood of people come in the country illegally, then the law isn't the law. And it just incentivizes a new group of people to come in under what? The illusion that becomes reality, by the way, that they're going to be given citizenship if they just show up legally or illegally. Deportation is important to send a message. It's the same reason, we send people to jail. Some people who may have turned into good people later, but there's got to be a penalty for the crime. The penalty at a minimum should be deportation and not being allowed back into the country legally for, say, 10 years, even more. There's got to be a penalty. There has to be a disincentive for the behavior. That's obvious. But the second one is something I brought up to you. I'm obsessed with political tactics and strategy. I hope that's one of the benefits of the show. I hope that's why you like being here. We kind of like scratch the surface and get a little bit deeper. It may not be for everyone, but I appreciate you seem to like it. There's another reason a deportation operation is important. It's not just the message. That's critical. That's why I put it number one. But the second one, which is finally starting to make its way into mainstream conversation, is something, and I'm not giving myself any credit. I got it from other people too, been talking about it for a while. Ladies and gentlemen, whether illegal immigrants can vote or not, which is a big scandal in and of itself, whether they can vote or not, because some localities are pushing for that, they will be counted in the census under current rules. We will never win a presidential election again if you allow an endless flood of people to be counted in the census in liberal states. Why? Why am I talking about this now? Because think about Omaha. We're talking about one congressional district. A congressional district is roughly 700,000 people. Folks, we've got that times 4 or 5, maybe 6, 7, we don't even know because of the gotaways, coming into the country, every year more. You're talking about Omaha. You're going to have 20 Omahas. As people get more electoral college votes based on a growing population of people. Listen to what I'm telling you, please. I don't want to say it doesn't matter if they don't vote. That's not what I'm saying. Of course it matters. I'm saying for the purpose of the census and congressional representatives and electoral college votes for the president, whether they vote or not doesn't matter. It's just that they're here and that they answer a census. That's it. We will never win again. There has to be a penalty for this illegal behavior.
Man, I sure hope CNN and MSNBC were taking notes, because that right there, folks, is how news is supposed to be reported. Candid and straight to the facts, which is why I love watching Dan Bongino. God bless him, because he actually knows what he's talking about and can back it up. And he keeps me informed so that I'm able to discern who and what to support. At the same time, though, all of what we just heard him talk about is exactly why having faith in Jesus Christ is so important. It's infinity% required if you plan on getting through these dark times with your sanity still intact. Because when we try to make sense of all this evil that's going on, that's surrounding us every single day, from the liberals to illegal aliens, abortion, abolishing our Second Amendment, election interference, and everything in between, when we lean on our own understanding, it'll literally drive you nuts. But no matter how much chin boogieing and propaganda folks do on our screens, no matter how much money they steal or false accusations and trumped up charges they create against their opponents, God knows what you really stand for. He's got the receipts for everything that all of us has done in public and in private, and we aren't getting a darn thing over his head. The Almighty is in charge of all outcomes at all times. He runs this joint, not Joe Biden, not this regime in the Democrat Party, not the Uniparty. Isaiah 40 verse 23 sums it up perfectly and says, he judges the great people of the world and brings them all to nothing. Meaning that you might be president right now, you might think that you got the world and everything just in the palm of your hands, but that's because God allowed you your season. Tomorrow isn't promised for anyone. Christ is going to return when we least expect it, like a thief in the night. And on that day, we'll all have to give an account for our actions and face the judgment that sends us to heaven or to hell. And only repenting of your sin and picking up your cross to follow Christ is going to secure that everlasting life ruling that we want, that everyone should want. If you don't, I don't know what you're smoking. I don't know what your goal and ambition is to get out of life, but I'll pray for you. But just like my shirt says, he is the way. Emphasis on thee, because there's no alternative route to the Father in heaven. I don't care what any of these other false religions claim to give you. When you go to their tombs of the foundation, these people that they worship in their religion, whether it's Muslim, Buddhist, whatever it may be, there's still a body in that tomb. When you go to look where Jesus is, Jesus ain't there, because he beat death. He rose, ascended into heaven, came back down in the form of the Holy Spirit that's in us once you've been saved. When you look to Christ, you're looking at the one and only one of a kind, the only Lord and Savior. No other religion can give that to you. I'm sorry if that offends people, but that is what it is. So, Lord, I pray that anyone that hasn't done so yet, I pray that they turn away from sin and pursue righteousness. I pray that those people follow God's commandments and realize what Jesus Christ did on the cross for all of us 2,000 years ago. No exclusions if you look to him. And that goes for the illegal, the LGBTQ, any lost soul walking earth today. I hope our Heavenly Father gets a hold of you and has your heart transformed. Amen. But that's all I'll say about this. Y'all know I get fired up. I'm going to end my rant there. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think, and let's keep the conversation rolling. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, ring that notification bell so you get notified anytime I post a new video. If you like what I'm doing over here and you want to show a little extra love and support, make sure you go check out our website down below in the description section. That way you can get all the awesome shirts you see me wearing in every single video. They're all made by my beautiful wife. This one says created with a purpose. It has it on the chest and on the sleeve. It's based on Ephesians 2 verse 10. I like mine a little baggy, so it seems a little extra room to move and groove, but we got all different sizes ranging from itty bitty extra small to big and hefty 5X, a bunch of colors, different designs, all of that. I'm sure you can find something that you like or a great gift for someone that you love. Outside of that, you can always join the Gibson family here on YouTube and become a member. You can buy me a coffee. You can join the Patreon family. All those links are down below as well. By no means do you have to do any of that. Just showing up and allowing my freckle face to rant at you for a few minutes. I am greatly appreciative. I love y'all. I cannot thank you enough. Until next time, I'll be praying for you. Godspeed. I'm gone.